What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Wave. Let's go ahead and let's jump in as we go in and tackle the Game 4 series. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. The first Game 4 that we had was the Oklahoma City Thunder, Denver Nuggets. And this game was a little bit of I wouldn't say of a disappointing game, but it was definitely a good back and forth. No team really was like too in control. You can see Denver, they scored only 8 points in the first quarter. But they did come back and respond to make it an interesting half, and even having runs of their own. So it was a pretty interesting game. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of these stats. Oklahoma City had 5 players in double digits, but only 2 starters in double digits. Alexander with 25, he had a pretty decent night. I think he led the way for his team in scoring. Obviously, he did with 25, not the game high, but 2 shy of game high. Yeah, and he did his thing. It was, 25 points. Hartenstein, 8 points, 14 rebounds. You can't ask for anything a lot more. I mean, that's a great stat line right there. Jalen Williams is a 10, 2 for 13, very inconsistent on the field. And Chet as well, 8 and 13, none too crazy, but Shea and Isaiah Hartenstein was definitely a good combo out there. Caruso had some good impact off the bench as well as Wiggins and Casey Wallace. So I don't know. The bench definitely came to have some impact. You can see that Oklahoma City's bench. Usually Westbrook is usually like the spark factor for Denver off the bench. He had 6, 2 for 12 shooting, two threes, very inconsistent out there. And he fouled out of the game, so it was pretty intense. The starter 17 from Christian Brown. He had a bounce back game for that poor performance he had. Jamal Murray 5-15, a little inconsistent out there. Jokic for 27, but off of 7 and 22 shooting. Yeah, this Oklahoma City team defense has been holding this Denver team to some low field goal percentages, and just trying to smother them. But the fact that Denver kept it close it's more of how the other players on Oklahoma City just weren't there to play, specifically Holmgren and really mostly Holmgren, honestly, because like Lou Dort, he'll hit some threes, but he's really like a wing defender, and Hartenstein is like 14 rebounds, like he's doing his thing out there. Jalen Williams as well, especially with the 2 for 13 shooting, no 0 for 5 from the 3, so and they were not hitting the 3 ball at all. 10 for 41, while Denver went 11 for 45. So same percentages actually. So it really just comes down to execution in the fourth quarter and just teams with the grit. Now the series is 2-2. This series, like I've been saying, it might go down to 7. I'm gonna continue to hold my pick of Oklahoma City. I'll continue to take them as the favorite going into the series. But let's see how Denver responds. I mean, they took a game at home, and then they split the series both ways. So if they're gonna go to 7 again, that would be pretty crazy. But let's see how they respond. Great series, great match so far. Definitely the most entertaining series. Denver, one of the most entertaining teams in the playoffs this year. And yeah, this is a great matchup, and it's gonna come down to the wire. It's going to come down to 6 or 7 games, honestly. So let's go ahead and jump into the next game and see how we're standing with other series around the league. All right, the next game was the Cleveland Cavaliers, Indiana Pacers. And again, this game, I believe, was really over by halftime. By halftime, the Pacers had, I think they ended the second quarter with 7 made field goals in a row. They had 80 by the end of the first half. They were winning by over 40 by halftime. And I know the score looks a little bit closer than it is, but this game in no stretch of the imagination was ever close. Indiana took the gut punch in game 3, and they took a little stun, but Cleveland came out really flat, particularly Darius Garland. Him and Donovan Mitchell, like the whole starting lineup just had negative plus minuses. Like it was just not this thing out there. Like there wasn't. They played their entire roster, so that's the kind of game it was. That just kind of should tell you, like everybody on the team played because like by like the third quarter the game was over. You know what I mean? So let's go ahead and take a look. Darius Garland 6 for 11 with 21. He had 1 3. Donovan Mitchell with 12. Not a good game at all. Darius Garland with 21 and 6. I think he could have been like the team high. He was the team high. Evan Mobley, he didn't really have the best performance. A lot of turnovers, 22-10. Like that was definitely another thing to note. Cleveland just could not hold on to the ball, if we take a look, Indiana got up 93 shots. Cleveland got up 70 shots. You know what I mean? So those 20 turnovers definitely contributed to that 40-point lead they had going. And Obi Toppin was looking crazy out there with 20. He was looking insane out there. Siakam 21, Turner 20. This Indiana team is just a balanced attack. And now because of that, they have a 3-1 commanding lead over the series. I had been mentioning that I wanted, or that I had Cleveland in 6 or 7. I am now going to have to pivot that and make an adjustment because it's now that Cleveland is in statistical jail, and Indiana is just like on the craziest run, and it's not one guy doing all the action. It's not like Halliburton he only had 11 and they won by 20. If it's not a one-man show, like sometimes it can feel like a one-man show over in Cleveland, which is why it seems like they're collapsing. But Indiana doesn't seem like that at all. So, I mean, Indiana, I slept on them coming into this postseason. I didn't expect them to make this deep of a run, but now look at them, 3-1 lead in the conference semifinals. About to make another conference finals appearance. So, let's go ahead and see what they have in store. I mean, Cleveland, I don't expect them to just mosey on and lose at home, but I do see that statistically speaking, the series is wrapped up. And it'll take a Hall of Fame performance from this Cleveland Cavaliers team to mount that feat. So let's see if they can do it. But again, I think the series might unofficially be over, and we might be moving to see Indiana onto the conference finals. All right, the penultimate game was the Boston Celtics and the New York Knicks for Game 4, and this game was. So the Boston Celtics came out hot. They came out ready to go. Again, we see this thing where they're just launching threes. They took 48 3-pointers tonight, while the Knicks took how many? 34. I'm sorry. It's just the Boston Celtics and their attack is just kind of interesting, but whatever. Payton Pritchard, he had 12 with 2 threes off the bench. Definitely some good performance from him. Kristaps Porzingis 7 with 4 rebounds and a steal. He didn't really make or break anything. He didn't really add anything to the floor of the game. Jaylen Brown with 20, but 7 for 16 with 4 turnovers, 5 fouls. Not the best performance. He played decently. Derek White 23 with 6 threes. That's a decent game, but they was just running him to the ground out there. Drew Holiday with 4 with 34 minutes. That's unacceptable, especially when your team is down 2-1. Al Horford, he had a big 3 in the first half, but he really was not really making too much noise on the offensive side. And Jason Tatum, he had the 40-point bomb. But it just was not enough. And I do want to make the disclaimer that I did watch the game, and Jason Tatum, he did suffer an apparent leg injury. There's no diagnosis as of now. I haven't seen any news about what the potential injury could be. I just know that whatever injury he did have, he would not play the rest of this series. With that being said, I watched the game, and Jason Tatum threw the ball, turned it over, and then got hurt while they were down 9. So I don't really think Jason Tatum getting hurt had anything to do with the Knicks' victory. I really want to go on record saying that. So I don't think the Knicks won because Jason Tatum got hurt. I think the Knicks won because they limited their attack in the second half. And we can take a look at the box score. I'm not sure if you guys can see my mouse, but Boston was up by 11 at the end of the first and going into the half. New York cut that down and took the lead going into the third. Because it was 11-28. So the 11 points, they evenly scored in the half. And then what's this? 14? So now the Knicks are up 3 going into the fourth. And then going into the fourth, the Knicks hold down their business. they outscored them 28-33. So it's like they were not winning that. Especially with Jason Tatum turning it over at the very end. Mikal Bridges hit a very, very, very huge shot. Where he's slicing through the lane and he does his little pull up while he's moving to the side, which is his shot. Like, that's his signature shot. And if we look, Mikal Bridges, he had 23. OG Anunoby, 20. Karl Anthony Towns, 23. Jalen Brunson's leading the game, 39. Hart with 6, but he had 9 rebounds, 5 assists. You know, Mitchell Robinson, he had 8 rebounds off the bench. McBride, he came in and hit a few threes. You know what I mean? So, like, but if we look over here, it's like their bench didn't do anything. The Knicks had 10 points off the bench, but it was really the starters who came to play. And Brunson had a masterclass 39. And Karl Anthony with 23. Like, literally, like, 4 players scored 20 or more. While in Boston, you have a 40-piece from Jason Tatum, Derek White hitting 20, just off of just being open, and Jaylen Brown inefficiently scoring. So when you have like 28 field goals from one player, like we've seen this with Donovan Mitchell when he had his 40-piece and lost. It's just a recipe to lose. Like, it's easy to shut a team down if we know that their main focal point on offense is one person. So again, I had the night of this game or the day of this game, I was going around saying like, yo, New York's gonna win. They lost by 30. They're not gonna just come out flat, and they did it, and they came to perform. Now they put Boston in statistical jail, and again, like I said about the team, about the Cavaliers, and I'm gonna say that about the team we're gonna cover after this. But once you're behind that 3-1 8 ball, you have to do some historic Hall of Fame anything. Like, you're a Hall of Fame player if you can come back from feet like that. You're a Hall of Fame team. You know, they make 30 for 30s for teams like that. So, I don't know. Boston's down 3-1. Jason Tatum's hurt. I think this series is done. And I think New York is going on to the conference finals. And they're going to face Indiana in the conference finals. We're going to get to that. We'll have a whole video dedicated to conference finals predictions and matchups and conversation of that. But New York just has to handle business. And like I said, they put Boston in statistical jail. Boston has to do some Hall of Fame shit to make this shit happen. And yeah, it was definitely a great game for the Knicks. Hard fought win, up 3-1. Yeah, it feels great to be a Knicks fan. I know Knicks fans are really hyped right now, and rightfully so. Your team that has came to play the last 2 series, you know, it's been a good run for the New York Knicks. So let's go ahead and move on. Also, Jason Tatum is hurt. We don't wish injuries on anybody. We wish him a speedy recovery. We hope everything is okay. And yeah, you know, but shout out to the Knicks for go ahead and putting it up 3-1. Let's see if they can close it out and how fast they can close it out, and see if they can move on to their next series. And for the final game, for the Game 4s, we have the Minnesota Timberwolves versus the Golden State Warriors. And again, this game was very, 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 like, how people wanted this game to go was how they saw Game 3, with Jimmy Butler just being super aggressive and Jonathan Kuminga being super aggressive, and that was not the case tonight. That did not happen. And in fact, it was really the Julius Randle, Anthony Edwards show. They both had 30 points last night. Julius Randle with 30, with 5 rebounds, 3 assists. He's just been on a tear the last couple games. He had a triple-double the game before this, and he's just really having a great series against Golden State. He's been balling his mind out. Jaden McDaniels with 10, you know, with 50% shooting. Rudy Gobert 8 points, 6 rebounds. Not too much on the offensive side, but that plus minus at 13 is like, yeah, because he's out there playing defense, and it was insane. Mike Conley with 11. When he's scoring the ball like that, like, that's never a good sign, because he's not really their like main scoring focal point option. Anthony Edwards again, 30 points. He looked insane out there. Alexander Walker with 13 off the bench. DiVincenzo with 9. It was just everybody that went into the game actually scored multiple field goals. So the whole team was cooking, and you definitely saw it, especially in the second half, the fourth quarter specifically. everybody was getting to the rim. Like layups was just like open door. Like they shot 50% from the field, 49.4, but 47 from three. And it's not the same story going on over here. Golden State, they kept it competitive. Draymond, I liked how aggressive he was out there. He was playing really good, and Trace Jackson Davis started the game off really good, but then he kind of plateaued after a little bit, even though he only got 19 minutes. Jimmy Butler was really the main concern here. He was not aggressive at all. He took only 9 field goals, 2 passive, not looking for a shot, not looking for that free throw line. He took only 5 free throws, which is unprecedented of him. They were looking for double digits free throw, and it's actually kind of funny. Buddy Hield, he was starting to play a little decent, especially in the back half of the game. Podensky not too efficient on the field. Jonathan Kuminga off the bench, but he was really, again, he came back to play. He showed that he was, how Jonathan Kuminga played was how everybody was looking for Jimmy Butler to play. He was aggressive. He took 12 free throws. He was going to the line. He was, taking his jump shot to the end of the night with 23. Steph Curry, he didn't play again. Pat Spencer, everybody on the team actually got minutes except for Braxton K. He kind of came in at the very end of the game when things were kind of over. But, the bench was doing what they had to do. They was doing their garbage time minutes. Gary Payton not really too effective out there with 16 minutes, though. Kevon Looney, his defense was okay. I saw a lot of layups he was giving up. But, again, it was just Jimmy Butler not showing up to play, not even being aggressive, and it's just not enough. Like a lot of turnovers. The Warriors actually led in the turnover battle, but in the end of the game, there was a lot of turnovers that were kind of crucial. Like a lot of throwing away the ball, across the court and stuff like that. And then we have to talk about the elephant in the room is that this Warriors team cannot hit a three, man, without Steph. And it's like what is starting to show me is that the 3-pointers that all the other players hit when Steph is playing is literally because Steph is playing, and he's like literally making everybody else open because he's so skilled with the ball. So, the Golden State Warriors need Steph Curry. They're saying he might play Game 5. And again, the Golden State Warriors are in statistical jail. They're in the 3-1. They would have to do some Hall of Fame shit to come back from a 3-1. The one thing I will say is that out of the 3 teams that do have to come back 3-1, Golden State is the only team that's ever done it. So I think they have the best odds of even ever pulling off a 3-1 because they've done it before in their history. Steph Curry specifically, Draymond, that team, they've done that before. They've had it done to them too. Don't get me wrong, but they've done it themselves in the same season actually. So let's see if they can do it. Minnesota does look really good. Can't lie, they look really good. Anthony Edwards is looking like a beast out there. He's on a run. And that team is just so cohesive right now. So we'll see how that ends up going. But, Julius Randle and Anthony Edwards were the main shows tonight. With the whole team kind of coming together and just playing good basketball. So we'll see how that goes. That was, but yeah, I want to thank you guys so much for joining me on the wave, man. It's been an exciting series. None of these series are over, but we are coming to the end, and we're going to hit to the conference finals soon. So get ready for that, man. It's going to be super exciting. Like I said, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. I want to see you guys' takes. I want to see you guys' opinions on these series. Feel free to drop them. I definitely read every single comment, and I'm we want to build a community here where we just share our opinions and we have different takes on basketball, but we're just a basketball community. But with that said, I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out. Ciao. See you later.